call for APEC debate by sitting Kavieng MP. Health Department to distribute condoms.
To avoid the infection in the first place.
And organisers say Trukai Fun Run event set.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartolo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Saturday's news. Sitting Kavieng MP Ben Micah has challenged the Prime Minister to debate the reason why the APEC summit should happen at this time. It comes after Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said the APEC meeting will happen, despite Micah saying it's not the right time for APEC to be held in Papua New Guinea. Bethany Harriman with this report.
Sitting Kavieng MP Ben Micah responded to the Prime Minister's remarks in New Ireland on Thursday, where he said Micah's rhetoric on cancelling APEC is hot air politics. Micah is now calling for an open debate with the Prime Minister on the APEC, stating reasons to why he said what he said.
I want to debate Prime Minister, Paul Spakov and Justin Tachenko on APEC. Why? The topic is, I'll select it now. Why Papua New Guinea is not in a financial position to host APEC. Why?
PM O'Neill has already told a crowd of hundreds in Kavieng that the sitting MP's call has backfired on himself. Cancelling the APEC would mean putting a stop to the APEC tourism ministers meeting in Kavieng in 2018.
Tourism, you start talking to me like promoting tourism. The tourism ministers of the 21 most powerful countries in the world will be here in Kavieng. What a great opportunity for you to display tourism, the potential block Kavieng and New Ireland.
Ben Micah says the economy cannot sustain an expensive event, and international reviews about the economy doesn't show what is truly happening in the country.
I want him to drive on the Okuk Highway. You know, I drove on it 3 weeks ago from Goroka down to Leh, and you see the shocking state of the road. I challenge him to go and drive. Forget about Moody's and all those people. Drive and see the state of the highway. Or just go down to Eriman, go to 6 Mile, and see the shocking condition of his people. No jobs, living in poverty, involving in drugs and prostitution and crime.
But Prime Minister O'Neill is adamant that APEC will bring the exposure PNG needs for economic growth.
Our country is starting to get the recognition, the leaders all around the world. Over the investment community of the world is thinking to invest in Papua New Guinea. No can think also mi playet can tasol but country me. We need capital, we need investors, we need technology, we need education.
The sitting Kavieng MP isn't the only political candidate going to elections criticizing the government over the APEC summit. There are many more throughout the country campaigning against the 3-day event that's already cost taxpayers hundreds of millions of kina. But with the elections ahead, the people will decide who takes on the responsibility of holding APEC as government. For now, both the People's Progress Party leader and the Prime Minister are confident about forming government after elections. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News.
Morobe's Deputy Governor has issued a call for agriculture authorities to make public the steps taken to clamp down on illegal chicken imports. Judas Nalau said any imports carrying infections will kill 2 of Morobe's biggest chicken producers, Zenag and New Guinea Tablebirds. Nalau also expressed support for an earlier call by the Poultry Industries Association seeking government intervention.
Much of the chicken sold in Papua New Guinea comes from the Morobe province. If illegal imports are left unchecked, there's a possibility that foreign diseases could cripple Morobe's multi-million kina industry. Morobe's Deputy Governor has since called on appropriate authorities to take immediate steps to clamp down on illegal chicken imports.
From information we're getting, these imports are much cheaper than the local products. In that case, I'm pretty sure the screening process for the imports to come in is not very stringent, and I think something is wrong up at the national level. And
Many of Judas Nalau's constituents are also involved in the poultry industry. Last month, the Poultry Industries Association released a statement calling for public support after receiving word of illegal chicken imports from Malaysia.
We don't know what scale and how much in terms of volume is illegally brought into this country.
In Morobe, nuclear towel beds and Zenag have supported a wider community of, in Morobe, especially in terms of local people getting spin-offs like raising the chickens, I think Morobe, generally the rural areas surrounding Lake City, plenty man will benefit this, like even the local landowners.
The PIA hasn't yet received an official response from the Agriculture Minister on this matter. Scott Whitey, National EMTV News, Leh.
Leh police have confirmed that a dead body was found floating at sea near the mouth of the Makam River between 7 and 8 a.m. yesterday. Leh Metropolitan Commander Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi says they were not able to identify if the deceased as the body is decomposed. Police are treating it as a murder case.
At around 7 and 8 this morning, as the news of the dead body went out, people gathered at Leh's Igris market to identify the deceased. Police say some workers from Labu village were traveling by boat back to their village this morning found the body. It was wrapped in a large plastic bag. Police believed it must have been dumped into the Makam River some time ago.
Hapas 7, 8 o'clock now. Online night seafood company. Rather, only come now. You go back to place. I'll come now. Spotting my body and dribble mouse long water. Postilo number spice and that's all. I come now. Picnic girl blow me yet. Frida Ruben. And we come now. Talk salo Milo houses and Papa. Please you blow my body and dribble water. I go outside. So Milo si walk around dribble me. Na me go now. Look, not picnic boy blow me. Number 2, 3 picnic boy blow me. Michael Ruben. And me Kisimo. I'm blow outside now. Same time. Andy Camilo. And Ronnie come outside at the Neman. All come now. I'm okay. You plug this body go back. I'm Karamate more. Boy, I'm helping body and I so time me contact now, me yet me talk to the body finish, na me yet pass him rope long and pull him and me come inside.
Labu villagers managed to pull the body back to the mainland. Police and medical staff were there to retrieve the body.
I'm surplus story also. Me come now, me talk so long now, or ring lo you plan now, me him come inside. The time also he come and police uniform me come, me plus I want the most kind of what you blow the come now, but you mix him more.
Police are now calling on the general public in Leh to report to police if they have any friends or relatives who have gone missing for some time. Investigations have already begun. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Medang.
The Modilon General Hospital TB wards will need more beds to cater for the increasing number of patients going to the hospital daily. Modilon Hospital physician Dr. Weston Yambut says for now there are 3 wards with 56 bed spaces allocated for TB patients. 2 wards are interconnected. TB and drug-resistant TB patients are housed in the same building and share the same corridor. A wall separates them.
Modilon General Hospital has a bed capacity of 260 that can accommodate up to more than 11,000 admissions in a year. 56 of the beds are allocated to the 3 TB wards. Public health specialist Dr. Billy Self says for now at least half of the bed spaces have already been occupied by TB patients.
So Papua New Guinea can really take the attention away from just the curative side of it to engage more the education people, the primary health care, the primary industry, and all other sectors to be involved to know that tuberculosis is caused, we become prone to the TB bacteria because of our body immunity. We're not able to fight infection. Number 1. Number 2 is people overcrowding and they're exposed to the bacteria in big numbers continuously, and that's why they get infected.
Physician Dr. Weston Nambut says the increasing number of TB patients occupying the bed space is an extra problem on the availability of resources at the hospital.
We got only a limited number of beds here. We can't keep all TB patients here just to get their treatment completed for 6 months. That is going to be a huge stress on the bed space that we have. So once they're stable enough, we release them. So on that end,
but the 2 doctors say one of the wards is interconnected and it housed other patients as well. On this side are TB patients. The other side is the drug-resistant TB patients. A wall separates them. Dr. Nambut explains, patients with drug-resistant TB are supposed to be isolated from other patients, so the risk of transmitting the bacteria is low. But due to the current arrangement, the risk of TB bacteria spreading is high.
Attempted, we've made some budgets and sent to government, but I think they were not able to assist us. So we're still handling on trying, and this is one of the reasons why we're not able to start opening up the isolation ward. We have everything done, infrastructure, beds, all things, but we were not able to find the money to start isolating the patients. And we're also mindful that when we have the other form of tuberculosis, which is resistant to all drugs, we need to create another ward again. And this is another thing that we also, at the back of our mind, how are we going to do it when we're struggling still with creating a ward for it in the medical.
The Modilon General is the Level 5 provincial referral hospital that serves more than 500,000 people. The hospital has 432 workers. Dr. Billy Selv says they have a ward ready to isolate the drug-resistant TB patients, but due to financial difficulties, they were not able to get permanent staff to work. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Medang.
Here with National EMTV News, more local stories after the break, including plans by the Health Department to distribute condoms during the election period. That and more when we come back. Welcome back to the news. The first ever field assessment for the multi-purpose National Forest Inventory was conducted in Eastern Highlands Province. PNG National Forest Authority and relevant stakeholders began the valuation in Hanganofi and Upper Bena. Once the NFI work is completed, PNG will know its timber volume as well as minor forest products, carbon stock and soil characteristics. NFA officials say the assessment will continue until 2020. The National Forest Inventory assessment will continue to Momase, New Guinea Islands and the southern region. Dr. Paisan Dakulala has labelled election periods as a high-risk setting for the spread of HIV and sexually transmitted diseases in the country. With this in mind, the Health Department, together with the National AIDS Council Secretariat, will be distributing condoms in the upcoming weeks. For a start, a total of 178,000 condoms will be distributed in the country.
The Health Department has taken preventative measures to stop the spread of HIV and sexually transmitted infections for this year's elections. Dr. Dakulala said this follows reports of increased sexual activities during election periods.
It's important that every health facility throughout the country should also be engaged in making available these condoms where they have them and enable that to be accessed.
While the election is in full swing, Dr. Dakulala says they were not able to get this done earlier due to funding mechanisms. This is the first batch of condoms that will be distributed to key setting places such as the Highlands region and NCD, where they need to be made available during this particular time. According to the Health Department's STI HIV Program Manager, Dr. Nick Dalla, the Health Department spends around 3 million kina yearly on procurement of condoms.
So the best thing that we can do, and if we do it effectively and efficiently, is to avoid the infection in the first place. And that is the use of condom, and that's why condom becomes #1 priority for the Department of Health as well as the National AIDS Council.
There's a lot of risk behavior involved, there's a lot of alcohol and other drugs involved, and it leads to sex, and then people get infected with HIV. So that's why it's critical for us, NACS and NDOH, to get those condoms out right away. And
condoms have a 99.9% effective rate and are also effective for family planning. This preventative measure by the Health Department and the National AIDS Council Secretariat is made possible through the collaboration with PSI PNG.
Condoms are still the #1 prevention strategy for HIV transmission, and we're very happy as an organization to actually provide these condoms, sell these condoms to the Department of Health and the NACS.
Marilyn Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
The autonomous Bougainville government has launched the corporate plans for all its departments. President Chief John Momis says the corporate plan is the way forward for all departments for its sustainability and growth. Momis says this will allow the Bougainville Public Service to continue to deliver to the people of Bougainville. Fabian Hakalets reports.
Another historical achievement and milestone for the autonomous Bougainville government is the launching of the corporate plans for all departments. The island's President Chief John Momis says that for far too long the Bougainville Public Service has failed to deliver to the people's and the government's expectation.
They provide a roadmap of what agencies expect to achieve.
Monitoring and evaluation is an important component of the corporate plans, and that is what the Investment Promotion Authority's Acting Managing Director Clarence Hood pointed out.
Where you take stock of your achievements, you bring out your challenges, and then that sets the pace for a way forward, depending on the next corporate strategy and how to play.
In Buka, Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
The people of Lemanmanu in the Haku constituency in Buka want investment on the human resource development be prioritized in the autonomous region of Bougainville. They say the government authorities need to build the human resource for the future of Bougainville, and that is a missing link, they pointed out, saying candidates of this year's national general election should not really consider infrastructure as priority. With the development of human resources, the autonomous region of Bougainville will prosper. Still on Bougainville, all 10 candidates endorsed by the SOM Pioneer Party in the autonomous region of Bougainville will be contesting as independents. The acting election manager, Desmond Timiaso, has revealed. However, Registrar of Political Parties, Dr. Alphonse Gelu, has sounded a warning call to all political parties to be careful with such moves which can be unlawful. Fabian Hakalets has been following this story and reports from Buka.
The question of some Pioneer Party having 10 candidates at the close of nomination was queried to the Papua New Guinea Electoral Commission.
The candidates that have been endorsed by some Pioneer Party, when it goes to them being considered as being candidates endorsed by party, for them they have been taken up as independents because some.
A letter to the Papua New Guinea Electoral Commission on April 21 this year was obtained by EMTV News in Buka from the Some Pioneer Party stating that only 4 candidates for the 4 seats in the autonomous region of Bougainville were endorsed. The other 6 will be independent. And the question remains, who has paid registration for the other 6 candidates if later they are considered pro-Some Pioneer Party candidates?
Some others they've actually assisted in paying nominations and they took them up as the pro-Some Pioneer Party candidates. So at least this has to be made known to the general public and the people in Bougainville that Some Pioneer Party endorsed 4 candidates.
Now, according to Register of Political Parties, Dr. Alphonse Gelu, he says Some Pioneer is incorporated and a registered political party of Papua New Guinea. In a series of questions raised by EMTV News on this matter, Dr. Gelu says that political parties are not allowed to endorse more than one candidate in an electorate or support another in the same seat. Now, under the Organic Law of Integrity of Political Parties and Candidates, this is illegal and political parties can be penalized as outlined on Section 56 on political parties endorsed candidates. Now, and I quote Dr. Gelu saying that if another candidate wins, his or her election can be declared illegal, and he will keep a lookout on Some Pioneer Party candidates and also other political parties doing the same thing. Now, at the time of this broadcast, we are yet to receive a response from Some Pioneer Party and its president. In Buka, Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more stories when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. 6 Okteri mine landowner villages will soon supply Tabubil, Bige and Kiunga with over 3.6 million eggs and 26,000 broiler chickens. The 7 million kina project was initiated by Okteri Development Foundation in partnership with an Israeli agro company, Innovative Agro Industries. Villages involved in this project include Atem Kit, Finalbin, Bultem, Kavora Bip, Migal Simbip and Wangbin. The project is said to generate revenue for the mine villages. So far, Fubilan Catering Services Limited has shown interest to buy 6,000 eggs per day. 4 coffee industry officers have successfully passed an international cupping examination process to become certified Arabica coffee graders or Q graders for Papua New Guinea. The certified graders are Matilda Linda Hasu, Stella Frisu, Enos Dum and Mark Munul. They now join the exclusive list of 5 Q graders in the country to access the quality of coffee in cup and grade. Q grader is a term associated with their specialty in the coffee industry. They examine coffee and score them based on attributes and overall quality. The Q grader training also complements the Coffee Industry Corporation's efforts to beef up cupping services for local coffee growers. Turning overseas now, I represent Pittsburgh, not Paris. That's the statement Donald Trump made to justify pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement. So what do the residents of the city think about the president's decision and his claims it's all about protecting American jobs?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a city twinned unexpectedly by the president with Paris, maybe for its alliterative allure. But this morning it wasn't hard to find citizens delighted by his decision.
I think our president is trying to do everything that he can that's good for the American people, and that's what I like.
America first.
Absolutely.
It's about time that people put, and presidents put, and for the people, America first. And he's doing it, and he's showing that all these agreements that are not fair to the United States, it's time they renegotiated and they become fair.
The old Pittsburgh was very different from the new. Steel City, it was known as, a manufacturing capital, often shrouded in smog. But now it's remade itself as a high-tech hub, often called Roboburg, because it's a centre of excellence in robotics, the place where Uber is testing its driverless cars. You were in Paris.
Yeah. No, I was one of the American representatives.
The city's Democratic Mayor Bill Peduto says its resurgence has been based on green-friendly policies. He's hit back at Donald Trump.
The decision to withdraw is not only bad for the United States economy, but it weakens us throughout the world.
It's the old rusting steel towns in the valleys outside of Pittsburgh, left behind by the new economy, where the slogan, "Make America Great Again," reverberated most strongly.
Donald Trump would not today be president were it not for the support he received in the Rust Belt states. They've become the critical battleground in US presidential politics. And there are many voters here who believe that the global anger over his Paris decision offers proof of his determination to fight on their behalf.
The post-Paris question for the US economy. Is Donald Trump trying to revive old declining industries in a way that impedes the development of the new?
Security is high on the agenda for voters in Britain as they head to the polls in the coming days. The Conservative Party's comfortable lead in the polls is taking off as Labour fights back.
It wasn't shaping up to be a bestseller. The Conservatives were dominating, Labour disintegrating, but then a twist.
It's kind of gone from bad to worse. She'll just hope to get over the line.
Prime Minister Theresa May called the snap election to strengthen her Brexit negotiating power.
At the beginning of the election, the Conservatives were in a very strong position, but something's been happening to the polls.
They've plummeted from a 22-point lead over Labour to around 6.
That's because of things like a manifesto that didn't have any of the costings in it, a social care policy that frankly upset their own core vote.
Not a good look for a Prime Minister who keeps saying,
"We need that strong and stable leadership now more than ever."
Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn isn't making it all about him.
Because people want a country run for the benefit of the many, not the few.
He looks uncomfortable in Parliament and he's fought off leadership challenges, but on the campaign trail, thousands turn up to hear him.
If he did win, it would be an unbelievable political upset, because it's not only, those who are against Jeremy who weren't convinced about him. Loads in the Labour Party said he was unelectable.
Corbyn complained the press were against him.
I think broadcast media is being quite fair to him.
But the papers are openly biased and most are right-wing.
I think the good side about it is you do get this very robust critique of what politicians are doing, and frankly, it makes politics more exciting.
Despite the headlines, Labour's policies have been popular, promising to pour money into education and healthcare.
For Theresa May, it's all about Brexit. They are refocusing this on the idea that there are 11 days after this election until Brexit talks start. Do you want Theresa May or Jeremy Corbyn to be negotiating there at the table?
The Prime Minister says a vote for Corbyn will bring about a coalition of chaos, but Britain is already struggling with uncertainty over its future.
Well, the phrase waste not, want not has been taken to heart by one Brisbane company. They are using human waste to run Australia's first poo-powered car.
If you saw it cruising the main street of Auckland, you'd probably do a double take, and not just because of the colour.
One little girl actually asked, when you're in the car, do you have to do a poo in the car? So we're getting all sorts of weird and wonderful questions.
This is the part where you look away if you're squeamish, because I'm about to show you how the car's powered. Through the waste of 300,000 Brisbane residents, the biogas from the sewage converted to electricity in what's called a cogeneration unit at a plant near the city.
It's a really interesting process. Cogeneration isn't new, but I think the way that we're applying it is something different that we can learn a few different things from.
The car does come with limitations. It only has a range of around 150 kilometres before needing a boost. This is Australia's first poo-powered car. It's estimated it takes the waste of around 250 people a day to fill her up. And to answer the obvious question, no, it doesn't smell.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't smell, I'll be fine.
That's funny. Nah, I'm not going to do that. Oh my God, no.
A similarly powered car has been created before in the UK, but it was run on gas rather than electricity. This Queensland company's hoping to use its method to power its 300-vehicle fleet in the long term.
Sewage treatment plants are becoming more like resource recovery centres, and we're keen to, get people talking about renewable energy.
It's certainly one way to do it.
Here with National EMTV News, Trukai Sports is next. We have the latest on the 2017 Trukai Fun Run, cricket and football. All the details after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Deputy Secretary of the PNG Olympic Committee, Andrew Lepani, says preparations for the 2017 Trukai Fun Run around the country is going well. Lepani says the event plays a major role for Team PNG in generating funds for Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games and the Mini Pacific Games. This year's proceeds will go towards Team PNG's travel to the Bahamas, Ashgabat and Vanuatu.
It'll be a great event. We're hoping for big numbers.
One of the biggest sporting events in the Pacific, the Trukai Fun Run will mark its 18th year in 2017, organized by PNG Olympics Committee. It is used as a tool to generate funds for international sporting events for Team PNG, and with 8 days to the Fun Run, PNG Olympics Committee Deputy Secretary Andrew Lepani is encouraging individuals to quickly grab a t-shirt.
The iconic yellow Trukai Fun Run shirt is on sale. If you haven't yet got one from either your schools, your children's schools, you can still go into shopping outlets around the country and purchase one of these shirts for 10 kina. And it's this shirt that you'll be wearing on June 11th when you come to take part in the Trukai Fun Run. Here in Port Moresby, as I mentioned, it is at the Sir John Guy Stadium. Buses have been provided by NCDC to assist the public get to the stadium. Those buses will begin running at 3 a.m. And if you are wearing a yellow Trukai Fun Run shirt, then you can get on those buses free of charge and they'll transport you to the stadium. The program begins at 6:30 a.m.
He says the event is crucial to help generate funds for Team PNG, and this year won't be different.
The funds raised do go to supporting Team PNG. This year we have 3 games that Team PNG will be attending. The Commonwealth Youth Games in Bahamas in July, the Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games in September, and at the end of the year in December, the big Pacific Mini Games in Vanuatu. So with those 3 games, we do need a lot of support. Our Team PNG athletes, the best athletes the country has that represent our nation overseas, they need your support. and that's why we're calling on the public to purchase your Trukai Fun Run shirt and take part in the biggest Sport for All event in the South Pacific.
4 codes, athletics, weightlifting, swimming and tennis will represent PNG at the Youth Commonwealth Games from the 19th to the 23rd July in the Bahamas. Attending for the first time this year, the Asian and Mixed Martial Arts Indoor Competition will take place from the 15th to the 24th of September and will see 2 competitive sports, swimming and weightlifting, represent PNG. The last and final event will be the Mini Pacific Games in Port Vila, Vanuatu from 2nd to the 14th December, where PNG will send a big contingent of 14 different codes. The day before the Trukai Fun Run event, PNG Olympics Committee will hold a massive t-shirt sale at the Waterfront Food World on Saturday 10th of June, where North Queensland Cowboys representatives Matthew Scott and Brent Tate will be present to sign autographs to t-shirts purchased. Godwin Aki, National, MTV Sports.
To cricket, and the second half of the Cricket PNG calendar is fully booked with international and domestic fixtures. Cricket PNG CEO Greg Campbell has told MTV Sports from next week onwards it will get very busy down at Ameni Park when the Hebo Shield competition gets underway. And also the national squad training will go into full swing.
The men's national team are preparing to meet Scotland in October. Even though that fixture is 4 months away, the Barramundis know too well this is an opponent that they will not take lightly, considering that cricket is their traditional sport.
We come back here to play, of course, Scotland, and we're really looking forward to that. We hosted Kenya and Namibia last year, but Scotland probably is a more traditional cricket playing country, if you like. You know, they've been playing there since the last 200 years, so we're looking very much forward to that. It's a huge game for us. We're sitting 4th in the I Cup. That's a 4-day competition, and we're sitting 2nd on the table in the 50 over. If we win these 2 games, we'll go to top of that table, and if you finish at the end of the year on top of that table in 50 over, you automatically qualify for a World Cup. So there's a huge amount of riding on the game, so we're looking forward to that.
And the women's team, the Lowers, are right now undergoing high-performance training, awaiting the ICC T20 Women's World Cup due later this year or early next year. While the Under-19 Garamus also have an international fixture. To the domestic competition, as of next Monday till the end of July, Cricket PNG will be running its Hebo Shield competition. This will be PNG's first-class cricket competition involving both the men's and women's fixtures. The 2 months of competition will see 8 teams participate, 5 men's and 3 women's teams.
The CPL Labours have just come back from Japan, Sano, where they qualified for the T20 World Cup qualifier, and that's yet to be announced, but it'll be February next year, so they go off to South Australia for 2 or 3 weeks to play some games against South Australian ladies. And the Hebu garments are off to Samoa in August to qualify for a World Cup, and we're confident they will, and that World Cup for under-19s will be held in New Zealand in January. So very busy calendar we've got, but that's always, and like Josh alluded to, you know, we stick to our strategic plan. We've got a foresight where we're going.
Dinero Straiko, National, MTV Sports.
To football, only a week remains until the highly anticipated showdown between Melanesia rivals Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands in the World Cup qualifier. The Solomon Islands are coming off the back of a 2-1 loss to Fiji in a friendly match last week and will be raring to win on home soil in Honiara next Friday. For Papua New Guinea, it is all systems go, with head coach Fleming Seritslev saying his team is more motivated than ever to win.
For Papua New Guinea, the road to Russia 2018 has not been the smoothest of rides. Elevated by a fantastic, fanatic and boisterous home crowd, the national team came close to winning their first ever major trophy.
New Zealand have won on penalties!
And amidst the elation of Gunemba's goals, Dabinyaba's pace, the silky skills of David Brown or the cool head of Alwyn Komolong, it has been the intelligence of Dane Fleming Seritslev that has the confidence of the nation.
Performed superbly well. They've not lost.
Instilling a new brand of football, embracing speed and vision, encapsulating the Melanesian knack for flamboyance, while drilling in a discipline that for years had dogged the national side's outlook. Under Seritslev, younger players were brought in, a new leadership group created, and a host of youth bled through the qualifying campaign.
They found the way of playing immediately after, and coming to the end of the game, we could have scored 5, 6 or 7 goals in that match. Solomon also had a couple of chances, but not nearly the amount of chances that we produced in this match. So it was actually it was a match that made me rather optimistic when we are looking ahead to the Nations Cup here.
From those tentative first steps, however, Fleming's influence on the side is notable. This is the longest campaign that PNG has embarked on. But as Fleming Seritslev said memorably, Papua New Guinea has no fear. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
We'll have more of Trukai Sports after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. MRDC Hekari United came from a goal behind to snatch a thrilling 2-1 win over a fiery Admiralty FC side in the National Premier League competition in Port Moresby. The win sees the Hekari seating comfortably at top of the ladder, unopposed after 5 rounds.
In the Southern Conference clash of the National Premier League saw the top of the table clash between Hekari United and Admiralty FC in the second match of the day. The men from the Admiralty Islands of Manus didn't turn out to disappoint the fans, putting Hekari to work in the early stages of the game. And surely their efforts were not in vain. Their quick transition in the midfield area soon created space for the Islanders to take the lead in the first half. Desperate to score, Hekari would start the second half with a bang. And who else than Tommy Sammy? The infamous striker outpaced his opponents to drive in a low shot past the keeper. With the scoreboard at 1-1, both teams were furious in attack and defense. That almost seemed like the match would end in a draw. But Hekari would have the last say, punching the final goal in the back of the net to clinch the win over Admiralty. In the day's early matches, FC Papaka defeated FC Amoana 2-1, and in the Northern Conference, Makam FC thrashed Bulolo 3-0.
Number 9, Tau Winnie, replaced by number 8.
Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
To Rugby Union, Super Rugby has delivered another classic match in New Zealand, one of the best ever this afternoon. The unbeaten Crusaders and informed Highlanders did not disappoint. The results of the game came down to a miraculous last play, the Crusaders winning 25-22.
If you think you've seen some great finishes, check this out.
Mitch Hunt with a drop goal. Mitch Hunt with a drop goal. Mitch Hunt, he's got it. Unbelievable. I cannot believe what I've just seen. No way. He's come around the corner and as cool as you like, slotted one of the greatest drop goals I've seen.
After almost 20 phases, reserve first 5 Mitchell Hunt launched the match winner 3 minutes into extra time. From almost 50 metres out, it cleared the crossbar barely.
White Crockett turned around at one stage and just said, do something with it.
The Crusaders now have 14 consecutive wins, and this was by far the toughest. What's even more remarkable is that run out of backs when Ryan Crotty suffered a rib injury, forcing flanker Jed Brown onto the wing for the last 20 minutes.
Look, he's done a rib cartilage, so Steve Henson will be tucking into the old notebook, making sure who's next.
There were also concerns for another All Black starter.
How do you knock yourself out? No, Benny.
Ben Smith failed another concussion test after becoming the most capped Highlander in history. Earlier, it looked one-sided as the Crusaders roared out to an early lead. The Highlanders can be proud of their second half fight back. Waisake Naholo putting the unbeaten run in serious doubt.
Waisake Naholo! Shut it down! You ain't stopping him!
With time running out, the Crusaders needed something special. The boot of the 21-year-old from Nelson, bringing back memories of great Crusaders teams from the past.
Oh, I trust. It was like a mate over here. He's done it a few times. He's been clutch a few times this year, and it was amazing. Good 50 metres on the angle and fading away, hit it all.
25-22. Next up are the British and Irish Lions, who'll need to prepare for one hell of a fight against these Kiwi franchises.
Still in Super Rugby, apart from empty seats and inflated prices, the Blues were embarrassed on the field in their Super Rugby game against Queensland in Samoa.
After rocketing out to a 14-0 lead, the understrength Blues then let the Reds back in. The Reds dominated for most of the second half. Young prop Taniela Tupou with 2 tries before some late Milani Nanai magic.
Ioane and Akira Ioane gets a nice ball away. Nanai sprinting down the touchline, stepping and pops the ball up. Can't quite free it up, but it's there for Perifeta.
The Blues winning 34-29. A fair chunk of their frontline players were either injured or resting ahead of the Lions tour game on Wednesday night.
It's very dangerous to describe B teams and A teams. This was a team our coaching group thought could and would win the game, and they did. The Lions will be a great occasion, and we'll now address that. But winning Super Rugby games has been our #1 focus.
The Blues team to play the Lions on Eden Park is confirmed on Monday. And in the final appetiser before the long-awaited Lions opener tonight, the Chiefs have racked up a comfortable lead over the Waratahs in Hamilton. The home team racing out to an 18-3 lead at half-time. Stephen Donald finding some space in behind the Waratahs in his 100th Super Rugby game. James Lowe finishing in the corner.
James Lowe for the Chiefs. Superb stuff from the hosts. The break from McKenzie, the try for James Lowe.
The Chiefs starting the second spell with more of the same, scoring another 2 tries in the first 3 minutes. The Waikato men still in control, leading 39-31, close with a few minutes remaining.
And that ends Trukai Sports. Up next, your weather details. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
A look at the weather forecast over the next 24 hours in the southern region. Port Moresby, fine, becoming cloudy. Similar weather expected in Daru. A shower or 2 for Kerama. Cloudy with light rain for Alota. Cloudy with light rain as well for Popondetta. A top temperature of 31 degrees. To the Momase region, some showers in Leh. Cloudy with some showers in Wau and Medang. Fine, becoming cloudy for Wewak and Vanimore. To the New Guinea Islands region, fine, becoming cloudy for Lorengau, Kavieng and Boka. Cloudy with some showers for Kokopo and Rabaul. Showers and thunderstorms in Kimbe, West New Britain. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundia, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centres can expect some thundery showers with early morning fog.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Before we go, a look at our top stories today. Opposition member and sitting Kavieng MP calls for a debate on hosting of APEC in 2018. Health Department to distribute condoms for election period. And 2017 Trukai Fun Run set, says organisers. And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Saturday the 3rd of June 2017. From all of us here at EMTV, pleasant viewing. Good night.